a deceiving title, isn't it? But it made you click. Welcome to this matchday preview on Back of the Net, where we explore this weekend's fixture between Leeds United and AFC Bournemouth. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
And look, this fixture has had history, it's had confrontation. It's also had one overzealous tweet at the start of the season which exacerbated the whole situation between the two clubs. We're not going to go over old ground too much. We've done a video on that already. Click the card at the top of the screen which contemplates why some Bournemouth fans hate Leeds United. But on this video, whilst we will reference the misdemeanours of the past, it's all about the Leeds of here and now. And we'll tackle questions such as, are they a likeable club?
What about Jesse Marsch as well? Jesse Marsch is manager, up and down at the moment. Would we have a point with him?
What's their style of play? We need to know.
And which players, from a Leeds point of view, do we need to look out for? They've got some dangerous ones.
Also, on this preview, we're going to discover their views on us.
Team news, injury updates for both sides as well.
And this man here is going to predict both sides. Not only Bournemouth's, but Leeds as well. And look, being nice guys that we are, we're also going to offer an olive branch, a handshake to all Leeds fans watching by offering you a free pint. It's not clickbait. We're going to do so later on in this video. It's a real thing. So stay tuned because we're going to be bringing you that and a whole lot more over the next 40 minutes or so with possibly the most comprehensive view of the weekend's game that there is on YouTube. And for Leeds fans who are watching, I mean, with Back of the Net, we do the full treatment for this game, don't we?
Yeah.
So obviously this is the preview, but then afterwards, Tom?
We do fan cams after the game, which Leeds fans, you're more than welcome to come and join. Just have a chat, that raw reaction after a game. What else do we do, Sam?
The matchday vlog, so we chart our raw experience, a candid experience of what it's like to go to Elland Road. We take you with us, the raw excitement, the passion, the anger, the frustration, but hopefully the elation.
And then we do the second look, don't we? So that's where we go into a bit more of a dissection of the game. We have them fan cams, we have the vlog where it's that raw reaction, but start of the following week, you'll see, we'll go into a bit more detail about the game, a little bit more, a bit calmly, after sometimes there's a little bit of frustration or elation straight after a game.
So tell us about this away day review show we do as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's probably my personal favourite actually. So we have like a little tier list. And we go to all the games, so every away game we talk about everything outside of the football match. So, getting there, the atmosphere, what the facilities are like, concourse, all that good stuff, the people that we've chatted to there. And we whack you in a tier list and see how you get on. And there's one team right at the bottom at the moment, there's one team right at the top. It's starting to, there's loads of different spots available. So where will Leeds come? Because, this will be an interesting one because I don't think you've been to Elland Road.
No.
And I only went when I was a kid, really. So looking forward to it.
All that to come. So there's a reason to subscribe to this channel if you're a Leeds fan, but a Bournemouth fan or a football fan that likes watching passionate supporters get really irate and also jubilant over watching their team play week in, week out. Press the subscribe button. But also on this video, at some point when you see something that you like, just drop a like. Truly appreciate it. Hit the bell if you are subscribed because that will inform you of when our next video lands. Right then, about this free pint. Tom, I'm not joking.
No,
I'm not joking. Now, this is a 3 o'clock match, so it's not going to be televised in the UK. However, did you know there's a place that you can go to watch all the TV games, mate?
Oh, go on, where's that?
Well, it's your local Green King pub. It's the
everything.
ideal place, and it's the home of pub sports. To have a drink, to have some food. And in Leeds, in and around Leeds, Tom, there's a load of Green King pubs, including the Dragon,
Malt Shovel,
the Griffin, the Templar Hotel,
Traveller's Rest, Gilderson, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Arms. So there's quite a few Green Kings in Leeds. So if you're a Leeds fan as well, you can, it's not just about the Bournemouth fans that we're helping out here. Like you said, olive branch, mate.
Yeah, and there's a way you can get it. So all you need to do is grab your smartphone and then just type in on the App Store or Google Play Store, just type in Green King Season Ticket. That's green with an E at the end of it. Just type Green King Season Ticket and then download the app. And there's benefits to having the app, including
10% off a great range of drinks 1 hour before,
yeah,
during, and after any match. So that's basically just the whole time. It's unbelievable, isn't it, really? What else you got? You got the booking functionality on there as well, haven't you? Yeah. So that's always handy. And then there's some games and in-app prizes and on there as well.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, you want to know about the free drink, don't you? Look, it doesn't have to be a pint of lager. It can be a pint. It can be a glass of wine. It can be a soft drink, whatever you like. So when you download the app, there's a link, a button that says to sign up. When you do, tap in all your details, choose your favourite team, choose your local pub as well. You're not tied to using that free drink at that pub that it suggests. You can go anywhere. But the important thing to remember, promotional code section, there are 4 letters that you need to type in.
BOTN. Back of the net.
Oh, of course, back of the net.
BOTN. Whack that code in, and there's your free pint.
Yeah, so go to the offer section, you'll find a free pint. There are also some other offers dropping, such as £5 off a £15 spend, and lots more throughout the season. So it's a free app, and it's a pint for you. If you can't make it to a game, make it to a Green King Sports Pub. They're your home of pub sport.
It's where the fans go.
But we're going to be going to Elland Road, Leeds United, the service crew. 1990 bank holiday fixtures in Bournemouth. Dirty Leeds, Don Reevy's Dirty Leeds. This show has it all. But if you're travelling up to Leeds, safe journey, take a coat, 11 degrees, and it's a 5-hour trip. There are going to be train strikes. It's going to be rainy, but hopefully a very wholesome game. And look, I've mentioned a few things that evoke some painful memories maybe with some Bournemouth fans, but on this video, it is just going to be about the football. Like I said, we've referenced the past, and Leeds over the past, I think they've been tainted with this kind of dirty brush, and to anyone that isn't informed, it mainly stems through Don Revie, their previous manager, who had a purposeful but successful style of management at Elland Road. It was almost a kind of win at all costs approach. It was audacious, it was cunning, it was sometimes morally frowned upon, but it certainly got them results, and it put them really on the footballing map. But one thing that some Bournemouth fans might not know is before he got that job at Leeds, he applied for a job at AFC Bournemouth, or Bournemouth and Boscombe as we were at that point in time, and we balked over the compensation fee, so he didn't arrive.
Some things never change, do they? Massive Bournemouth.
Which begs the question, are Leeds the side that Bournemouth could have been?
Mad, isn't it? Yeah, that's a really weird one. I don't think everyone's aware of that. Obviously, it's a long time ago. But yeah, I've seen different things on Don Revie and Leeds, past stuff and the success as well as other things. And yeah, I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, really interesting, isn't it? That he could have had Bournemouth if we just paid a compensation fee. Don't know what that would have been. But yeah, really interesting, mate. So yeah, we could have been Leeds.
And he joined Leeds United as player manager for £20 a week. That's madness, isn't it?
That is crazy.
That's crazy money. Too much, I would say. But it was one of the most transformative parts of Leeds United's history. And he's one of a series of Leeds managers that have done really good things for the club. We'll talk in this show also about their current manager as well, because he probably doesn't quite fit the mould of previous gaffers at Elland Road, but it would be good to get some opinions from an outside perspective on Jesse Marsch's tenure. But of course, we need to talk about Leeds United. It's all about the game this weekend. And look, for Bournemouth, it's a game where we're looking into it, hoping that we can get some points before the World Cup break after 3 losses in a row. Despite leading Spurs 2-0 at Dean Court last weekend, the final third of the match wasn't particularly good. And the Cherries, our record at Elland Road isn't great, so it doesn't bode well. But there is reason to be optimistic. So let's talk about Leeds United.
Yep.
Now, of course, their manager is Jesse Marsch, but last season they started with Bielsa, who you're a huge fan of, mate. You love him, don't you?
I couldn't stand the how much praise he got for getting slapped quite a lot. And don't get me wrong, good manager Bielsa. And I mean, God, did he make his teams work? And they were very unique. And yeah, probably a bit of burnout in the end. But what he did was, getting Leeds back to the big time as well was massive for the club. And I'm sure they'll always be thankful for him for that. It was more, I think, loads of people had it. It was they'd get beat 6-2 or something, everyone would go, oh, how brave of them. Whereas I always felt if Bournemouth did that, or when we did do that under Eddie Howe, naive. Yeah. We were naive, they were brave, so that was really frustrating. But Yeah, I was probably surprised he went. He probably went earlier than I expected. I probably thought he had enough credit in the bank to go a little bit longer. Having said that, Marsh come in and they stayed up. And this season's going a bit like that, isn't it? Obviously, they've recently done all right against Liverpool at Anfield, which we didn't do quite as well at Anfield. So yeah, it's a weird one, Marsh, because I think probably only a few weeks ago I thought he's the next one for the chop. And now you're starting to go, oh, is he winning a few fans over? Not sure. But yeah, they're a little bit up and down. You're not sure what Leeds you're going to get. I think they could be have a little bit of a soft centre at times. You can get them, but they play quite expansive, offensive football. So I feel like this could be a good game.
Yeah, so Leeds fans' opinions are very up and down about Jesse Marsh indeed. If you had to put them into one of two buckets, I think you could probably say that they're prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt and they'd certainly like to see the season out. And look, we'll talk about Leeds' season so far. We'll go through the results that they've had, but we also need to talk about their pre-season as well and the various transfer arrivals and departures that they've made. Tom, from an outsider, have you seen much of their transfer business and, what did you think of it?
It was quite notable, really, in the sense that they obviously lost Calvin Phillips to Man City. And I know he hasn't had lots of minutes, injury problems. Remains to be seen whether he'll be at the World Cup. But he was key for them. And then the next player, their special one for me, was Rafinha, who obviously went to Barcelona. So you're thinking, oh, that is going to be tough. They've lost arguably their two best players. So, but what Jesse Marsh did and what the club did was, I think, did Dan James as well, wasn't it? Dan James as well, I forget about that. But he probably, was flattening to deceive a little bit. It was more Phillips and Rafinha. But Sinisterra, I think, he's still quite raw and he's probably the replacement for Rafinha, but isn't playing every week at the moment. Aronson's been really impressive, an American, so probably a big link there with Jesse Marsh from Salzburg. Tyler Adams as well, American. And then they brought in Christensen, who's the right back, who I've been impressed with. I think Rocker come in, who's played quite a bit as well. So they did make some decent signings, but it was one of them where they lost some key players and they brought in a lot of unknown players, if you like. Obviously, one that relates to us a little bit was Leif Davis, went to Ipswich. We had him on loan, was kind of, from any Leeds fans that want to know, he played a bit part. When he come in, he always done okay, but he was kind of our understudy, backup, left back. So yeah, they've done a bit of business, but they lost key players and they've brought in players with probably a bit more potential rather than come straight in and do the business. But they've also got a lot of young players that are coming through really well. We saw Somerville at Anfield, Gelhardt. So they've got some young players that they're relying on as well. And I still think they've got a top keeper in Meslier as well.
So they started off their campaign with 2 wins and a draw with their £26 million striker Rodrigo having
started
scored,
well, didn't he?
having scored 4 of them. And Tom, what we're going to do is take a look at their results so far this season. And like you say, I mean, that 2-2 against Southampton, now you're looking at that thinking that's probably a poor result, but then we lost to Saints as well. So maybe we'll gloss over that. But 3-0 over against Chelsea.
That was a
massive
exceptional win. Obviously, start the season that win against Wolves, which I remember I was happy with because I had them on last man standing. The little thing where you have to. I thought Leeds would win at Ellen Road on the opening day. As you say, back to Ellen Road, smashed Chelsea. I think they went then won in the cup against Barnsley, a little bit of a local rivalry there. Then their first defeat was at Brighton, wasn't it? Which they're Potter at the time. That's a tough place to go. Drew with Everton at home, they'd probably be looking to maybe win that. So then you start seeing the inconsistencies because they get slapped at Brentford 5-2, which come out of nowhere really. That was a bit of a surprise. And then they kind of did what we did. When we got slapped, obviously ours was 9-0, we then went and backed out with a 0-0 draw, which they did against Villa at home. Really odd. Just lost to Palace, which again...
Hard team to visit, isn't
tough place to go. And then against Arsenal at home, where they lost 1-0.
That was a good performance from them, wasn't
it? Probably Arsenal's hardest game of the season. You see how Arsenal were doing. That was not too bad from Leeds. The surprise was the Leicester one. Losing at Leicester, I actually watched that game. I think it was on BT. And I watched that game and Leeds never should have lost it. They just kept getting caught on the break, as I mentioned earlier, with that defensive frailties. And they couldn't put the ball in the net. And then against Fulham, they did put the ball in the net, but they showed them defensive frailties again and lost 3-2 at home and then go to Anfield and win, mate. So yeah, it's very consistently inconsistent. But if Leeds continue like that, that should be enough to stay up. Do you know what I mean? And I think when you said earlier about them maybe hoping that Marsh can see them through the season, it'll all depend on if they have one bad run and they start thinking, oh my God, we're in the bottom 3, they might then press the panic button. If they don't and they can stay afloat with it, then I almost feel like they're not going to be in too much danger. So they might as well see out the season with him and go again. But yeah, that'll be up to the powers that be, really, if they panic or not.
One of the things they do struggle with is playing the low block sides.
Yeah.
Are we a low block side? Because we can be. We
Yeah,
certainly
I'd
were
say so.
against Spurs. We've got this kind of hybrid, haven't we? We are low block, but every so often we pick our moments to counter attack, which is something they struggle with. Whereas the more expansive sides, they do better against. So teams that sit narrow, they tend to struggle with. And do you remember that average position map we saw recently
Yes.
for one of the Bournemouth games? It's the most narrowest formation or average position I think I've seen
in the league,
which indicates that they may struggle. So I think if Marsh is going to earn his stripes, he needs to work out how to deal with sides like us.
Yeah, no, definitely, because I think apart from that's where the Tottenham one, our most recent game, was a little bit of a surprise, the way we started on the front foot. Because I think apart from that, the only times I've seen us not have that low block and be a little bit more expansive were because we were losing. So Leicester, we were 1 down at home. And then Forest, we were 2-0 down. Yeah. And obviously we won both of them games, but we come out because we had to. Apart from that, everywhere we've been, especially on the road, you think of the Newcastle game, for example, when we went there, very low block, try to be hard to break down. That's kind of come on since the 9-0 as well at Liverpool. We've had to work on that. And our defence, our centre-halves at the moment with Kelly out, obviously, are not the quickest, so play quite deep. But yeah, that's where the Tottenham one was a bit of a surprise. We come out early on, but as you say, we went back to that in the latter stages. So I think we will kind of start and go, right, let's make sure we don't see an early goal. But we've got to have that counter-attacking threat, because I think Leeds, especially the fullbacks, particularly Christensen on that right, will get forward and give us moments to exploit maybe. But I feel like this one could have goals, because I just feel like both teams can hurt the opposition, because I think, as you say, Leeds, we saw a few there. They've just got a couple at Anfield. They've got some young players that will be more brave and will just go for it and take risks. But then also with us, Kiefer Moore, how he did in the last game, I think we can cause them problems. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
As long as it's not some goals that are being scored and being greeted with celebrations like... Because that's what he does, isn't it? And as an American, I think, well, look, there are some parallels. There are some similarities between... Because Bielsa... he didn't really like doing media interviews. I think he was fined on a number of occasions for not doing the amount of interviews.
He struggled because of translation and stuff as well.
Yeah, but even still, there have been previous circumstances. Do you remember when Pochettino was at Southampton, where he had a translator doing it? He didn't even do that. And I know you had to do a minimum criteria of interviews to all the world's media that covered the Premier League. He didn't.
Yeah,
he got fined. Now we've got this brash American coming in, similar to Max Demin. Never heard from the guy.
It's true.
And obviously one's a manager, one's an owner, and now we've got an American owner in Bill Foley. But fans are split on Marsh. I don't think they're split on Foley. But I tell you what, it's gonna be a really interesting matchup, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Leeds fans are riding the sort of, if you can call it, the crest of a wave. I mean, that's a very high point. When you're beating Liverpool, but they are so aware. And later on the show, we'll be taking in some thoughts from a couple of Leeds United fan channels online that we've scoured, where all their focus is on Bournemouth, because they are really wary. And Marsh, surely himself, is going to be wary of that. But you know what? Leeds United's record at home against Bournemouth is pretty good. Can you remember the last time you went to Ellen Road, mate?
I mean, it must have been when we won the championship, I guess.
Correct.
But I feel like we didn't win that one.
No, we didn't.
But I can't remember.
No, Leeds, they took the lead through Luke Murphy in the first half, and then late into the game, with a few minutes to go, we had a penalty, which...
oh, yeah, Kermagant missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, Kermagant...
I feel like it was a midweek game.
And also, in the return fixture, they won 3-1 as well.
Yeah, they done a double on us when we won the league.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive from them, and obviously they're a completely different side now. But that is a... Oh, yeah, I can't even... Have we ever won at Ellen Road, by the way?
Well, look at these W's here. These do not bode particularly well, do they? Having said that, there was one L. There was one L, and it's coming, but it was at Dean Court. It was a bit of a rout. We beat them 4-1.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
But yeah, in our last match against them, it was sadly not ending particularly well with a 1-0 defeat. But first time we've played them in the top flight, mate, and it should be an interesting game. I wonder what they think of us.
I'm sure they're lovely about us, mate. But should we find out?
Yeah, let's find out.
You look at the losses this season, you look at the draws this season. Aston Villa were below Leeds, Everton were below Leeds, Leicester were below Leeds. All of these sides which we've struggled to really capitalise against have all been below Leeds at the start of play. Now, Bournemouth are not going to be below Leeds at the start of play, but Bournemouth are a newly promoted side. Bournemouth are a team that when you looked at the fixtures at the start of the season, you looked at Fulham, you did look at Nottingham Forest, and you did look at Bournemouth and thought those have to be wins for Leeds United. They have to be wins. Focus Bournemouth. Focus on the game ahead. Focus on the huge game ahead at home, because you couldn't ask for a better fixture. Bournemouth have won, 1 in 7? They've lost 3 out of the last 4, I believe it is. Won 1 game away from home all season. I always said Leeds were the trend bookers last season because it seemed teams would come to Ellen Road and we would give them that opportunity. And we've still seen that this season. We've still seen us being the trend bookers. And you've seen that with teams below us who've been able to really get an advantage on this Leeds side when we should have been hammering that nail in the coffin and beating them. But we haven't. But this needs to be a platform. It needs to be a time where Leeds are now able to elevate their performances. Leeds are able to elevate results.
Listen, I'm not going to get too carried away because the Bournemouth game's massive now. There's no point winning a game like this if we don't get the win against Bournemouth, or at least really... Yeah, we need to win against Bournemouth. Look, we do need to win against Bournemouth. I can't even downplay the Bournemouth game. We need to win that game as well to really build that momentum, which is the key thing now. No good having this if we're going to go another 8 games now without a win and, put in, performances that are just totally the opposite of what we saw tonight. But yeah, these games suit us. There's no doubt about that now. These games suit us in terms of when we let teams have the ball and we can press them and force counter-attacks. I think we look a lot more dangerous. And yes, the the Bournemouth game is a different test now in terms of we have to really show that we've learned from that. We have to be as good as what we were tonight against Bournemouth and really break down, because Bournemouth will sit in against us. We know how Bournemouth play. It's not too different to what we've faced much this season and struggled against this season. Teams sitting in against us, we need to break Bournemouth down. I keep saying Fulham because that Fulham game is still on the head.
But yeah, I know the talk of Jesse was, well, we should be better based on our XG and stuff. Bournemouth's underlying stats are absolutely awful. They should have, apparently, according to the XG, they should have only scored 9 goals this season.
Right.
9.31, whereas we should have scored an amazing 17.2.
That's interesting.
So, but yet they're miles adrift on goals scored, according to that. But I suppose when you've got hotshot strikers like Kiefer Moore.
Well, they've scored 12 in real life. We've scored 15, by the way.
Not fair, is it?
No, but they have conceded 28. Admittedly, 9 of those were at Liverpool. I mean, winning at Anfield's not for everyone.
No, it's very true. It's very true.
It was weird how they started the season. They did actually win their first game against Aston Villa, and then they got spanked by City, Arsenal, and then Liverpool in the 9-0. And it was coming into the season where Scott Parker was basically saying, we're rubbish.
Yeah.
We ain't got a chance. And then after the 9-0, they went, well, we should probably let someone else have a go then if you think that. And then, that's when they had the upturn in form under Gary O'Neill, which is kind of halted now. But yeah, I was just reading an Athletic piece before this, and that was saying how they're massively overperforming their XG. But also it's quite confusing because they were saying that under O'Neill, they're not as kind of accepting of defeat and are actually trying to press and stuff. But then it was also saying they are happy to sit back and dig in.
So it should be a good, interesting matchup between Bournemouth and Leeds United. If you want to check out the channel links of the clips we just played, check down there in the description. I'll tell you what, they're a club that's really well represented on YouTube and with podcasts and stuff, with some really high quality stuff out there. So good stuff from Leeds United. They all think that they should be beating us, and I think despite our relatively good form, the first clip there, 1 win in 7, that sort of brings it home a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're looking, from a ball perspective, we're kind of looking from the Gary O'Neill point, which is obviously after the 9-0 at Liverpool, and then and he went 6 games unbeaten. But obviously unbeaten means there are a few draws in there as well. But for us, it's more the last 3 games, isn't it? So I totally understand it. Leeds are at home to Bournemouth. They've got to be looking at that as the game to win. And I think a few of them mentioned that there's almost no point of winning at Anfield if you can't beat Bournemouth at home. You'd weirdly, even though it's really good in the moment, I'm sure there are lots of limbs in the away end, you'd rather beat Bournemouth at home and lose to Liverpool because they're the ones that they're going to be close to in the league table, you would have thought. It's a big game. And to be honest with you, mate, it wouldn't shock me if Leeds won comfortably. It wouldn't shock me if we went there and won. Draw wouldn't shock me. So it's really an open one, this. Little bit positives that, from our point of view, that Leeds have shown and alluded to the fact they've struggled against these sort of sides. So that breeds a little bit more confidence. But then equally, I'm thinking, that means they will really be thinking we can't do this again, and they would have learned from it. So, yeah, intriguing.
So in team news, players who've been out injured for Leeds United include Adam Forshaw, Leo. How do you pronounce that?
Who? Sinistera?
No.
Oh, Leo Hjeld.
Hjeld.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We haven't
Archie
really played
Gray, also, Lewis Sinistera and Stuart Dallas as well. But some team news. Lewis has a foot injury, more than we originally thought. Specialists looked at it and they worry that it could be a Lisfranc injury, so probably out until after the World Cup break. So, he's not going to be involved. Jesse, talking about Bournemouth, says that their manager has done a very good job. They're very lethal in counter-attacking situations. They defend very hard. Sometimes they defend a little bit deeper, so he's obviously aware of the battle that he needs to face. What about the AFC Bournemouth team news then, Tom? What's happening?
Well, it looks like it's kind of going to be as we were, because Gary O'Neill has stated that Lloyd Kelly, David Brooks and Neto it'd be very rare that any of them will be back before.
What's the quote you said about Lloyd Kelly again? Because it's that same phrase he always seems to...
The game will come too soon for Lloyd Kelly. We still don't know what's wrong with him. He went out, I think it was the Liverpool game, was it? No, he played the Forest game, didn't he, to get away the handball. And then we just didn't see him, and we didn't really know how long it's going to be. Nothing really said on it, no real updates, and just every week it's nah.
And what about Neto? Any chance before the World Cup?
Doesn't look like it, no.
Okay.
Doesn't look like it. And then the same with Brooksy. So, probably expected that, to be honest. But the main thing is we haven't got any fresh injury concerns, really. So, players like Dom Solanke, who limped off recently, and Kiefer Moore's been limping a little bit, and then obviously Rothwell and Stalis, they should all be available for selection. So, it could be a lot worse, mate.
In terms of the Leeds team, mate, are there any players that we should perhaps be looking out for? Are there any sort of stars that that I should be looking at?
There's probably a few in the. So I think I said when we were talking about the players they brought in. I rate Aronson. I'll be interested to see what he's like. Seeing him up close and personal, because he's been a really good player, been quite good for my fantasy football actually.
Okay.
Aronson, clever footballer that will kind of play more advanced of the other two in the centre area. But also you've got to look at Somerville. He's just a young lad who's just scored the winner at Anfield. I think he'll be chomping at the bit to get back out there. So he's another one. And I've always rated the goalkeeper. Yes, Melly, I think he's a very, very good goalkeeper. But I'd probably say Aronson is the one that we don't want to give him too much time on the ball. So I think maybe Jefferson Lerma for us could do with Marshall and them a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, what are your predictions at home? We would love to know what you're feeling about this match. How's it going to go? Let us know in the comments. We will read every single one. If we agree with any, we will heart them. So therefore, at this point, Tom, dare I ask you what you're thinking about this?
2-2.
Do you?
Yeah, I feel like there might be goals in this one. As I kind of mentioned earlier, I think they will go for it and they'll be wanting to win. I think that could give us a chance on the break. I think Kiefer Moore's just scored a brace. So, we know what Dom Solanke can do. So I feel like there's going to be goals for us. But equally, I think Leeds are a good side going forward. They've got some young players who will cause us problems. So I would definitely take that. I'll rip your hand off for a draw, mate. Last away game before the break. Let's get a point, get out of there. But obviously more hope than expectation, but I think we can nick a draw, and I think hopefully it'll be a good spectacle. What do you reckon?
I think we're going to sneak a win, mate. Our first win at Elland Road. First ever win. I'm going for 2-0.
2-0. God, I'd take that.
I've said it. You know what? That was my prediction on that. But the predictions that we all want to know are Tom's teams. So let's get up the screen now, and here we go. We've got Leeds United first because they're the home team.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a bit of a 4-2-3-1 formation, Tom, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. They have kind of two more defensive-minded ones that shield that back four, and then, it's kind of that front four. They're all quite interchangeable as well, to be fair.
Go on then, talk me through it then. Who have we got?
Meslier will be in goal. Mentioned him a few times.
He was one in the team of the week, wasn't he?
Yes, he got in
the Premier League show.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe for that.
Yeah, I think he's been in more than once, actually, Meslier. He's had a really good season. One of the best performing goalkeepers, I'd say. So, he'll be tough to get past. At the back, from right to left, I'd go Christensen will be on the right. Yeah. Been very impressive. Does bomb on a lot, so he's a threat for him down that side. So he'll be at right back. I think the centre halves will probably be the big German Koch. Yeah. no pun intended, he's called Cock. He'll be at the back with Cooper, I would have thought. Would have thought it'd be Cock and Cooper at the back. And then left back, I think it's pronounced Struijk.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably play left back. They have got Firpo as well, who's probably a little bit more attack minded, but they seem to have had Struijk in a few games now and look a bit more settled. So I think that'll be the back four.
Okay, and then what about the two holding midfield players, would you say, or the two deep line midfielders?
Yeah, Tyler Adams and Rocker in them roles. They've kind of they seem to have solidified themselves as them two, and they're both relatively new signings as well, but they're doing really well. And then, as I say, in that kind of player 10, that kind of advanced role will be Aronson, who will play ahead of them too. But he's the one that they'll try and get on the ball, try and make things happen for.
Player.
A very good player. Off either side, I think the fact that Sinisterra looks like he's going to be out, that made it easier for me because I thought we could start. But because of him being out, I think Somerville will keep his place on that left-hand side, the lad that scored the winner at Anfield. And then Jack Harrison, I think we'll probably play off that right. They could both switch, as most wingers can these days, or inside forwards. But yeah, I think Sinisterra being out is probably good for us because he can change a game, but still handy. And then this is the one where it's tough, but I'm going to go Rodrigo ahead of Bamford.
Okay, yeah.
Bamford hasn't quite started. You know what he's like with his injury problems. I think, especially winning at Anfield with Rodrigo leading the line, I think they're going to go for him over Bamford. So let me know, Leeds fans, but I'm quite confident with that one.
Will Bamford wear gloves if he does play? Of course he will.
Yeah, he'll come on with gloves.
It's 11 degrees, but he'll wear gloves.
I feel like he scored some goals against us as well, hasn't he, in the past for a few different clubs when he had them loans. So I'd be quite happy actually to see him on the bench. But yeah, I do think he'll just miss out, and that'll be the team.
Okay, as for Bournemouth then, I don't know what formation you want to play here, mate, so we can switch this to however you want. How many are we going at the back?
I'm going to go 3 at the back. I'm going to go for a 3-5-2.
Okay.
3-5-2, so there'll be the 2 up front with 1 sitting just behind them, and then the 2 protecting that back 3. So yeah, that's what I think we'll do, kind of what we did, kind of how we started against Tottenham. But yeah, it'll be a bit like Leeds, but it'll be very flexible. We know that we change a lot in play, and we've got players that can fill in different roles, but that's how I think we'll set up.
Okay then, talk me through, obviously, in goal.
Travers, the only goalkeeper we've got available.
Really hoping for a confident game from him.
Yeah.
Obviously, the second goal was down to his error, really.
It was.
You don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but hopefully he can be more dominant in the air, let's put it that way. Maybe Leeds will be capitalising on that, who knows, but it'd be good for him to have a good game. Yeah,
really important. I think the Neto news probably should help him as well. It's not like he's got loads of pressure to play well, because Neto will get back in. Yeah, you're guaranteed to play now to the World Cup, so just do your stuff. So still confident with Travs. Back 3, I think Smithy will start on the right centre-back role, and as I alluded to earlier with the in-game changes we can make, that's because Smith is naturally a right full-back, so yeah, that can all change, but I think he'll start right centre-back, Mepham in the middle, who's been a rock for us, and our player of the month, Marcos Senesi, who I think's been great, but surprised me he got player of the month. What about you?
I thought the nominations were a bit weird.
Yeah, when I saw the nominations, I thought, well, Senesi probably should win. Yeah. But Adam Smith and Chris Mepham weren't in the nominations, which surprised me. I think I would have gone Mepham or Smith, and neither of them are in there.
I mean, they're proving to be a good back 3, aren't they?
Yeah, really. Yeah, I think Mepham's good on the ball, and he's obviously been really good. Senesi's still raw to the league and new, but he's a dominant centre-half. And then Smith's just got that experience. He can sweep it up well. And he can get out as well. So yeah, I've quite enjoyed it.
Okay, as for your wing-backs then?
This one I'm going to make a change. It's a predicted change. I think Tavernier played right wing back in the last game. Yeah. I think he's going to play left wing back.
Okay.
I think Jordan Zamora is going to be taken out of this game. Yeah. So I'm going to go Tavernier at left wing back. I looked at it a little bit, and Jordan Zamora might have only been one time he started away from home under Gary O'Neill. Right. He tends to get Fredericks back in, and I think Fredericks will be back in at right wing back. I think for that experience as well, and I think if Somerville's playing off that side, as I say, young, fresh, will be running all day long. I think Fredericks has that pace, probably a little bit more when he is more defensive minded. So yeah, I'm nothing against Jay-Z. This is just what I think Gary O'Neill would do. I would probably start Jay-Z actually, but I think Tavernier, he hasn't really dropped Tavernier, so I think he'll just go to the left. So Fredericks will come back in.
Okay, in midfield then?
Lewis Cook back to Ellen Road for him.
Of course.
We got him obviously when we went to the Premier League, and they were still Championship.
Do you remember? I remember an interview we did. I think it was in the Coast in Lilliput, the coffee shop.
Yes.
And there was a clip that went round social media because he said, I don't like playing in big stadiums. I didn't like it playing at Ellen Road, he said. And it was out of context, but basically he said he preferred playing at Bournemouth. I loved that bit from him. But Leeds fans, still, the they regard him very fondly as one of their
brilliant.
young starlets. Where we plucked him at the right time.
We did.
He's probably not pushed on as
Injuries
much as
have
they
killed him.
thought he would have. But yeah, injuries have
absolutely killed him.
That.
We love Lewis, and we know that when he has to run the team like he is at the moment, what he can do, he's a top footballer. But yeah, if it weren't for injuries, mate, I don't even know if we'd still have him, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, Lewis will definitely be in there, and he'll be next to Jefferson Lerma, of course. Yeah, that'll be that midfield pairing, I think, and then Billing ahead of them.
Okay, I think I know what this is shaping up to be then, up top.
Kiefer Moore and Dom Solanke.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think it'll be a 2, but what can happen is Dom can drop kind of next to Billing as well if needs be.
Yeah.
And, because Dom will drop a little bit deeper, but Kiefer Moore has to start after his brace in the last game. And yeah, I quite like that team. As I say, that's only one change from our last one with Fredericks coming in for Jay-Z. So it wouldn't shock me if he went unchanged. Yeah. But that's just a little change I think may happen. And it does still give us, Stanislas, we know, has injury problems, but he's available now. Rothwell's available. As I say, if that team's out, Jay-Z will be available. Jayden Anthony. We have got good options. Ryan Christie, so we have got decent options off the bench as well. But I think this is actually, I'm probably jinxed there. It's the most confident I've been with the 2 teams predicting it right. I think I nailed it.
We will see how that goes. So, there we go. That is the preview. We hope you enjoyed it, whether you're Bournemouth, whether you're Leeds, or whether you're neutral, just wanting to see our beautiful visages once more on this channel. By pressing subscribe, you can guarantee to see more of us. We're going to be travelling up, we're driving up, we're doing it all in a day, so we're coming back. I'll be editing the vlog on the way back. That'll be released on Sunday morning. Fan cam Saturday night, second look on Monday, and then we've got a busy week next week to be revealed. Of course, we're playing Everton
twice
in the Carabao Cup, on Tuesday, on Saturday, but we might have a cheeky little extra bit of material coming your way towards the end of the week. We will see. Should we tell them? We can't really tell them much about it.
Nah, let's leave it. It's a little bit, it's a little bit top secret, isn't it?
A little bit top secret. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Say hello if you want to get on the vlog. We'll be in one of the pubs up in Leeds to be revealed, I'm absolutely sure. And then, looking forward to going to Ellen Road. And I hope that we can get our first 3 points there. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope so, mate. It's going to be a tough one. Let's get the last away game before the break. So let's get it bouncing in there. And it's a nice stadium. It's going to be a really good atmosphere in there. Leeds get it rocking as well. So hopefully we can go out there, get a positive result, and kick on for the final home game before the break, mate. So looking forward to this one, mate. Looking forward to it. Come on,
up the cherries, and we'll see you up at Ellen Road.
Bye.